Now, here's John Quinones on the Zodiac Killer.
Zodiac, a symbol that now stands for terror,
has killed 5 and says he's going to kill again.
He was a serial killer like no other.
Psychopath who kills for the thrill of publicity.
This is the Zodiac speaking. I like killing people because it is so much fun. The police shall never catch me.
Zodiac was my job. It's not yours. He's still out there, Dave.
Killing is his compulsion. It drives him. It's in his blood.
Jeez. Next week, a major feature film will reignite the story of an unsolved murder rampage back in the 1960s that plunged the entire Bay Area of San Francisco into a state of fear.
Oh my God, he has a gun.
nothing appears to stand between Apollo 8 and the moon except the sky.
Over a period of a year, beginning at Christmas 1968, he ambushes 3 young couples at Lover's Lanes near Vallejo and Napa, California.
The 2 victims were ordered out of the car and shot out of the car.
And he brutally executes a taxi driver in San Francisco. 5 deaths were confirmed the work of Zodiac, though he claimed dozens more. As terrifying as the murders themselves were Zodiac's letters to the police and newspapers. In them, he taunts investigators.
Hey, pig, doesn't it rile you up to have your nose rubbed in your boo-boos?
He provides proof of his crimes.
I am the murderer of the taxi driver. To prove this, here is a blood-stained piece of his shirt.
He includes cipher puzzles and threatens to kill again unless local newspapers publish them on their front pages.
I want you to print this cipher on the front page of your paper.
He wants his code in the afternoon edition.
What did that do to this community?
It terrified everyone. 3 newspapers gave their front pages to this man. I mean, that's how terrified they were.
Robert Graysmith, then a young cartoonist with the San Francisco Chronicle, was so fascinated by the case that he began a decades-long amateur investigation into it.
You just got to know where to start, though.
In Zodiac, actor Jake Gyllenhaal plays Graysmith and traces his growing obsession with the case.
At the beginning, he's passed off as an innocent who clearly doesn't know what he's talking about.
He gave himself a name.
The film meticulously follows the facts, even to the smallest detail, while recalling the inability of the police detectives to solve the case. Once a naive onlooker,
Gets worse.
Robert, you have a deadline?
Graysmith becomes hopelessly addicted to his amateur investigation.
How I would work all day, and then I'd get in my car, and at 2 in the morning, I'd be in Vallejo, California, sitting in front of a house.
So then it's not him.
Maybe yes, maybe no.
No, what do you mean?
Graysmith pesters detectives for leads.
This bold innocent, he'd come up and be like, I need this information, I need this information, I need this information, and they, without even understanding that they had an emotional connection to it.
I remember you thought that Zodiac was military, so I went to every base library, and I got a list of every person who's ever checked out his books. And
Mark Ruffalo plays a frustrated homicide detective who eventually develops respect for the amateur sleuth.
listen, that means they were stolen. So almost every book on ciphers was stolen from the Presidio Library.
Somebody didn't want a record of ever having checked out these books. These characters had lost large portions of their life in trying to figure this out. And when he came to them and asked them questions, he would open up things in them that bothered them more and more, that they hadn't solved it themselves.
Who are you again? I just want to help. I can't allow you to help. I can't discuss the case with you. I can't give you information, and I certainly couldn't tell you to go see Ken Narlow in Napa. Narlow.
A few years after the murders, Zodiac stops writing letters. The trail goes cold, and police interest in the case fades.
And gradually it began to blink out, and I seemed to be the only one left interested.
But Graysmith is still consumed by his obsession. He even enlists the help of his young children.
Don't tell Mom about our special project, okay?
And Zodiac takes over his life.
Who's working with you on this?
Some colleagues.
Dad?
He begins writing a book which would later become a bestseller, but it takes 10 years to finish and costs him his marriage.
When is it going to be finished? When you catch him? When you arrest him?
Be serious.
I am serious.
I need to know who he is. I need to stand there. I need to look him in the eye. And I need to know that it's him.
A lot of Graysmith's work points to one suspect, Arthur Lee Allen, a former school teacher who lived in Vallejo.
There are a lot of strange theories and things, but it fits one man. It fits one man only.
Over the years, Graysmith gathered a mountain of circumstantial evidence, placing Allen at or near every murder scene. He even wore a watch with the brand name Zodiac.
To use the symbol, to wear that watch, and to be at the crime scenes, and to know the victims, he would have to be Zodiac.
But even with his mountain of evidence, Graysmith couldn't prove it. And back then, police did not have today's technology to test the letters for DNA. In 1993, Arthur Lee Allen died. Primetime revisited the investigation 4 years ago, and at our urging, Dr. Sidney Holt of the San Francisco Police DNA Lab examined some of the Zodiac letters and made a discovery.
I found a partial DNA fingerprint from a male individual who at some time has had contact with the stamp.
But when she compares it with Allen's DNA profile...
Well, based on the information that I developed, the Arthur Lee Allen could not have contributed the DNA that I detected on the stamp.
But obsessions die hard, and Graysmith points out that over 3 decades, the Zodiac letters have passed through a lot of hands and could have been contaminated.
I would love to have had a really good, strong DNA. You just don't know. It could be somebody that slipped through the cracks.
Meanwhile, 3 Zodiac letters, lost for 20 years, suddenly surfaced during Primetime's investigation. New evidence for DNA analysis. And now, enough for the Vallejo Police Department to reactivate the investigation.
We've been contacted by you and other people indicating that you believe there was evidence out there that we could still test.
Homicide Detective Matt Meredith hopes to develop a complete DNA profile of Zodiac, which could be compared with millions of others in various national databases.
This is kind of stirring the pot, and we'll see what floats to the surface.
Hello?
Actor Jake Gyllenhaal is convinced that Robert Graysmith came very close, perhaps too close, to solving the Zodiac murders. At one point in Vallejo, he came face to face with his suspect, finding him at work in a hardware store.
He gets there, and it's just 2 human beings, like looking at each other and maybe almost in the mirror, because both of their lives have been destroyed by it. And for what?
The final answer might be here, in those 3 letters soon to be tested for DNA.
That would be fantastic. But no, I mean, that would be the greatest thing in the world if they caught this guy. No matter who it is.
Will they, once and for all, identify the Zodiac?